Erie Shores HealthCare, formerly known as Leamington District Memorial Hospital, has been serving our community since 1950. We've grown from a single residential home on Russell Street to a now full-sized hospital that sees 45,000 patients each year. Soon, you'll hear stories from people just like you who've had a personal experience with Erie Shores HealthCare. In the next half hour, you'll meet Peggy, Nancy, and Rick, who will share their stories and experiences with you. We're back on set at Erie Shores HealthCare with Peggy Thompson, originally from Blenheim, now a resident of Amherstburg. Peggy, thank you so much for taking time to join us here today.
You are more than welcome.
You've got a really interesting story of an emergency that happened to you. You were rushed here in the middle of the night.
Right. Of course, no visit to emerge is ever a positive one, but this turned out to be refreshingly positive. Called the ambulance at 3 o'clock in the morning from our Amherstburg home. I think what a lot of people didn't realize is that you have a choice where the ambulance attendants take you.
What was it that made you make that decision at the time?
We sat at the kitchen table with the ambulance attendant, and when he was speaking to us, we said we would prefer to go to Erie Shores, and he said absolutely no problem. We had heard so many good things, and it's a hidden gem, and we decided to experience it due to the circumstances, not the best circumstances, but we decided to experience it, and we are so glad we did.
So what happened that night that you had to call the ambulance in the first place?
I was having abdominal pains. The ambulance came, we were rushed to Erie Shores Emergency, and there was no waiting in the hospital hallways. We were seen within 15 minutes. We were assessed, had tests done, and I was admitted within hours.
Why is that so important in your story?
Here we were taken to an emergency room with a door, which is a huge thing for privacy. That in itself, but the fact that it was so quick and so efficient and the staff was personable and friendly. I was not a number. I was not number 87 waiting to be called. I was referred to as Peggy within the first few minutes of the ER doctor seeing me, assessing me, and I was referred to by my name, Peggy. It's huge.
It really helps you through, especially in your story. It's an emergency situation.
Correct.
You know, unlike something maybe that an elective surgery that you'd planned for, maybe a person gears themselves up for it, but
right, making the best of an emergency situation. This was a 10 out of 10 in this experience. And I've been in emergency rooms before, but this was second to none. And I tell everybody to come here now. My husband was with me the whole time, and we were shocked. We kept saying, wow, this is fast. Everything from the tests to the results to meeting with the doctor again. We met with 2 doctors within 2 hours, and then to be admitted and into a room. Again, I'm not waiting in a hallway on a stretcher. So from ambulance dropping me off to admitting, record-breaking time. I don't think people realize that you do have a choice when the ambulance attendants come, and you can say, I want to go to Erie Shores. It's a choice. It's your choice. It's not dictated to you, and I think that is an education in its own for the family members, especially in Amherstburg. We're a half an hour away.
And it was all about the personal experience that really 100%. Made it for you.
100%.
And it is a choice, and it's a choice that you can make at home to help us keep these kind of services available here in our community at Erie Shores HealthCare. The hospital needs your help to ensure these vital programs are available for everyone. Your broker can assist you in making a gift of stock via a direct transfer to Erie Shores Health Foundation. Giving a gift of publicly traded stock that is increased in value and that you've owned for more than 1 year may provide greater tax benefits than giving cash. Your charitable income tax donation is equal to the fair market value of the stock, and you avoid paying the capital gains tax on any increase in the current value over the original cost of the stock. And now, let's meet Nancy Kilroy-Ola, who will share her personal journey and emotional experience with Erie Shores HealthCare. We're here on the set at Erie Shores HealthCare with Nancy Kilroy-Ola, who's going to share her personal journey and experiences at the hospital. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're
Do
very
appreciate
welcome.
your time. What brought you to the hospital in the first place?
I decided to book a regular mammogram, and I went in and had my first mammogram done, and I got a call back asking me if I would come back for a 3D ultrasound mammogram, and I did that. I got another call back asking me to come for an ultrasound and also a biopsy.
So right off of the bat, something told you this really isn't, this has really become so much more than a regular checkup.
Yes, correct.
So if you go back to that first moment, how were you feeling?
Being a nurse, you always think the worst at a certain point, but when I got called back for the ultrasound and the biopsy, I pretty well knew that it was probably cancer because it does run in my family. So I wasn't afraid at that point. I just knew we'll just take care of business.
And so you come back now for those results, and what ended up happening?
I met with Dr. Faruqi, and I was given 3 options. I was given the option of a lumpectomy, a single mastectomy, or a bilateral mastectomy, and I chose to do the bilateral mastectomy. And later on, it was determined that there was also cancer in my left breast as well as my right.
You know, I've had some time to get to know you a little bit, and you really seem like such a strong person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was told that I had cancer, my first expression was to my doctor, well, it is what it is. And I never cried once throughout my cancer diagnosis and treatment.
The staff here, and you mentioned Dr. Faruqi specifically, just from a support point of view, from an emotional point of view, how's the experience been for you?
I don't know. This hospital to me is like Cheers. Because as I walk through, I visit everybody, and it's like everybody knows my name as I walk through. So in May of this year, I had to have a complete hysterectomy done, and I had that done with Dr. Ukiti at the hospital. And I just walked over from my house and nonchalantly and got admitted and had the surgery and saw a lot of my friends.
I know that you do. You're doing a lot to try to give back, and that you lead. Tell me some of the support groups that you're a part of.
Right now, I am a facilitator for the mood disorder group. It's been running for 3 years, and I have been facilitating it for the past 6 months. And I'm looking forward to working with hospice as well, and also the VON chronic pain clinic, getting support out into this community versus patients having to travel to other places to receive treatment and support.
When you're confronted with the type of medical news that you were confronted with, how important is it to have that kind of support from a staff at a facility?
Very important, because it helps to relax the patient. If you know, because this is a smaller facility, I got to know quite a few of the people here, so it's like home.
So everybody knows your name, but you know everybody else's name.
That's correct.
Well,
I start at ambulatory care and work my way all the way up to the first floor and come in quite often.
Oh, Nancy, thank you so much for sharing
You're
your
very
story,
welcome.
your journey with me. I wish you all of the best,
Thank you.
and I appreciate you stopping by. And that's why it is so important that you continue to give what you can and when you can to keep these kind of services right here in our community in Essex County at Erie Shores HealthCare. And you can visit us online at erieshoreshealthcare.ca. Erie Shores HealthCare's surgery department offers local and accessible hospital services and performs almost 4,700 surgical procedures each year, including a full breast assessment center. Other examples include general surgery, cosmetic surgery, dental, gynecological, and orthopedic outpatient surgery, like knee or ankle scopes and rotator cuff repair. And by choosing local care, you could avoid the wait for surgery. There are many ways you can support your local hospital. A bequest, or gift by will, is one of the easiest ways to make a planned gift. Your current income won't be affected, and you can receive significant tax benefits. With the help of your financial advisor, you can include language in your will specifying what gifts are to be made as part of your estate plan. Contact the Foundation office to find out how your donation can leave your lasting legacy. Finally, we meet Rick Johnson, who has spent time with loved ones as they lived their final days at Erie Shores HealthCare. On set at Erie Shores HealthCare with Rick Johnson, who's here to share his experience and personal journey here at Erie Shores HealthCare. And Rick, thank you so much for taking time to join us. We sure
my
do
pleasure.
appreciate it. What brought you to the hospital in the first place?
Well, I think in 2011, I had two experiences here. I've had two younger brothers who both succumbed to cancer. First brother in 2011 and most recent in 2015. Both time I was the executor and here for both of them when they passed.
Tell me a little bit about the feeling of the experience that you had here at the hospital with the staff.
In both cases, it was similar. You know, I came in and it was very clear where we went in. The nurse was on hand and, you know, walked you and basically kind of give you the rundown as to what the situation was, which, you know, wasn't a surprise to family, nor I think to either my brothers. They think they well knew that this was it, right? So I think there was a bit of trepidation, but really more ensuring that the care they receive to the end, that they're kept comfortable until the time comes.
When you look back on it, how was that care in those final days?
Well, it was great actually. You know, I mean, the main thing is you expect that they die with dignity, and I felt that in both cases that's exactly how they died. They died with dignity. They were treated with respect while they were here, even when they weren't conscious. You know, they treated them still like they were human.
What is the importance of having services like that at that quality that you're talking about when a family is confronted with this type of situation? How important in your mind is it to a community to have it?
I think that everybody feels that that's very important. The last thing, you know, when you experience the death of a loved one, is that you want, you know, burdens are thrown in your way, or, you know, hurdles thrown in your way, that you want it to go smoothly, not just for the loved one, but for the family as well. So as a community, I would say that's what everybody really wants.
Yeah, for sure. Were there some folks that stick out in your memory specifically?
Well, there were two or three that really stood out. My first brother in 2011, there was a nurse practitioner. I don't remember any of the names. Because at the time you're really not thinking straight. But there was a nurse practitioner, and she was excellent. She explained to me, you know, where we were in the situation, and we sat down together, the two of us, and calmed him, and I just felt that she handled it very, very well. She was really, really good and very attentive to his needs. The second with my other brother, there was his nurse. She was a young girl, and she treated him just like it would be like you and I sitting down at the coffee shop, you know. Shot the breeze with him, and he was far from being chatty, I'll tell you. But
Sure.
she treated him just like, you know, they were friends sitting there she was doing her job at the same time, but I think she made him feel very comfortable. Because I remember the look on his face, he looked amused because she was telling her about her trip. She was going somewhere, I think to Las Vegas or something.
Sure.
Yeah, so yeah, she made him feel very comfortable. And the doctor that was on call that time, he was very good because I had a lot of concerns about, you know, he had a DNR in place, and I was concerned about the fact that because when they do a DNR, you know, it's last, they want to make him comfortable, but there's, you know, they're not eating or drinking, and I was concerned about that, and he made me feel very comfortable about, you know, he got me over that, let's put it this way, because, you know, I mean, he made it very clear. He says, your brother's dying of cancer, you know, and that's what's, you know, you're seeing there. So anyway, I felt that he was very good, and he was busy, very busy, but you know, he took his time with us. So. And my mother was with us, and she's elderly, and she needed some time, you know, for questions and things, and to be satisfied.
For sure. When you come back to town, maybe you drive by this building, you see this place. What will you always think of when you think of Erie Shores Healthcare?
Well, besides the fact that I was born here, I would, you know, I think very clearly, you know, the most recent memories. I have been in since with my mother for some appointments and that with doctors, which, you know, was very good. But of course, you think about those last nights, and remember my first brother, Mark. I was alone with him that night. I was taking the turn to be with him through the night, and they moved. In both cases, they moved my brother to a separate room where they, you know, could be alone and with the family. And she set me up, the nurse of that night set me up with a little cot so I could get some shut-eye if I need to, you know, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, he wasn't breathing. I could tell he wasn't breathing, and that was the end. So I think about that a lot, but I think about how, especially in that case, how the nurse actually looked after me too, you know. So, you know, I think of that quite often.
You've shared really such a personal experience, and I thank you for that. I'm really struck by one thing that you've said, and that was referring to the dignity that when a family member is in their final days and we're being told by medical professionals that they are going to die. Mm-hmm. And what's really struck me with your story is the importance of how they were allowed to die with dignity.
Mm-hmm. Well, because their wishes, especially my second brother, Chris, their wishes were not to be prolonged, because there was, obviously there is no cure. So the inevitable was he was going to die, but you can die with pain, and or you could die relaxed. And they made sure that he was feeling no pain, that he was still treated as a person, because I put that together, dignity and the respect. So he's still a human being, right, although he's in his last days of his life. And I felt that they treated him still with the respect that all of us expect of being patients in the hospital. He was still a patient here, right? And you know, that entailed a certain amount of dignity for him, because, you know, he had a lot of pride as a healthy adult to his life, and I'm sure he wanted to leave this world in the same way, and I felt that the staff provided him that, you know.
Thank you again for sharing the story, and I wish you and your family all the best in the future to come.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And that is exactly why we need your help to continue to be able to provide these sorts of services right here at home in our community. And you can do that by visiting our website at eshfoundation.ca. At Erie Shores Healthcare, we know there are families going through a difficult and emotional time. Spiritual Services is committed to serving all patients, families, staff, and volunteers, regardless of faith, ethnicity, or creed. We endeavor to facilitate the attendance of one's own clergy or faith leader when requested. Chaplains also assist with coping strategies and provide support to those in distress. In some cases, family members are spending considerable amounts of personal time in the hospital with their loved ones. To try to ease the burden, our hospital offers many comforts to make your stay easier, such as large family waiting rooms, interfaith room for prayer or quietness, a cafeteria for a hot meal or snack, and iPads in the newly renovated lobby area. And I'm joined on the set here at Erie Shores HealthCare by the A-Team. Ross Barnwell is the Executive Director of the Erie Shores HealthCare Foundation, and Melissa, the Marketing Coordinator. Welcome, guys, and congratulations on such a wonderful project.
Thank you.
Thanks. We're so excited to see the day finally come together.
I know. Melissa, tell me about the journey of putting all of these ambassadors from this show and the other show together. What a journey talking to them.
Ross and I have been working on this for many, many months, and the project started as one thing, and it kind of snowballed, and it kept going, and the ideas kept getting better and better as it grew, and it turned into this wonderful day. And it was such a great experience for us to get to interview these ambassadors that we've met in this program today. And so interesting as we got to know each of them personally, their own stories, and it really brought to home even the reason why we continue to do the work that we do. This is the reason that we wake up every day. This is what we think about when we go to sleep at night. And what a great story to share for the foundation. We're so happy to be able to share our story with the community and reintroduce ourselves as the Erie Shores Health Foundation. And it's just been amazing. And to hear, you can write stories better than this. These are real life people that live down the street from you or maybe that you work with, and they're just real people. And these are the great things that we want to share. You know, we heard from a couple today, but there's hundreds and thousands of people that have great stories to share. And that's the message we really wanted to get across.
The compelling part of it is that all the stories had a similar theme, even though they were all in different departments. The fact that everyone knows their name. It's like Cheers, it's like home. They're like my family, they're like my friends. And Leamington Hospital is that for these folks. And it's that for us too. It's a family of healthcare. And the reason why we've been able to provide these services up to now for these folks, we're able to provide the level of care is because the community has been there for us all along. I've been here 19 years, and during those 19 years, we've had numerous capital campaigns and events and things that people have supported and volunteers have helped us with. And in all of that, the community has always been there, has always supported Leamington Hospital. We still need them. We still need your help. And the more donations we get, the better. And you just need to keep doing what these folks told you we need to help prepare for.
Tell me about then the importance of planning a gift. It's one thing to say we're doing a fundraiser and a couple of bucks here will help us get to our specific goal of the day, and those are important events as well. But tell me and tell us about the importance of really planning a gift.
During the course of the programs, you've heard a number of times about plan giving. Plan giving is a way to, if you want to support Leamington Hospital, the Erie Shores HealthCare facility, you can do so in a variety of different ways. You can give your one-time donation, you can support our events. But plan giving is taking those same amount of dollars and maximizing them to make sure that the hospital has a long-term future. That can be through estates, as we've talked about, and through insurance policies and other venues. And it's really important, if you need more information, to call our office and to contact us and find out more about how that can be done, because your donation can be maximized to be incredibly beneficial to the hospital over a long period of time.
It takes an army of people to put together this project, but I think it also takes an army of people to sustain a foundation.
It does, and it's a community foundation. We support healthcare, but everything we do supports the community, and it does so 24 hours a day. Those donations never sleep. You heard about the equipment that we have. It's better than most equipment in Southwest Ontario. And again, that's because of the donations that we've received.
Equipment that's the first installed in Ontario, equipment that's the only one you're going to find this side of London.
Yeah.
These are things I keep hearing that I think make me so proud to be associated with this project, with this foundation, and in this community.
Small and mighty.
That's why we need your help, and there's so many ways that you can give through planned gifts, and you can find it all online, eshfoundation.ca. Here at Erie Shores HealthCare, we facilitate many hospital and hosted services within our four walls. The traditional services that people often think of include emergency department, general surgery, and obstetrics. Often, people are surprised to know that we offer other hospital services like telemedicine, cardiac diagnostics, and pediatric and oncology services. However, at Erie Shores HealthCare, we're more than just a hospital. We're also the host of many other important community programs and are constantly working with many partners. Some of those include Hiatus House, Family Services, VON, Canadian Mental Health Association, Maryvale, and more. To learn more about the many hospital and community services, please visit our website at erieshoreshealthcare.ca. During this program, you've heard the real-life experiences from Peggy, Nancy, and Rick. However, these ambassadors are only a small portion of the thousands of patients, friends, and family members that we serve every year. We exist to provide compassionate, quality health care close to home. By choosing to give to the Erie Shores Health Foundation, you'll help enhance the quality of health care for your family, friends, and neighbors now and for many generations to come.